Thanks for taking this trip with me to Houston. What you see now is the USS Texas battleship. It is a symbol of being pioneer in its own time and a technology marvels. This is the battleship which commissioned in 1914, more than 100 years ago. Served in 2 world wars, and it won the 5-star for its service in World War II. Battleship Texas was the test bed for the numerous first-timers in the world. Among them are first anti-craft mounted gun or first battleship to launch an aircraft, and the list is long. I'm also next to Houston Ship Channel, home of multi-billion-dollar petrochemical complexes with almost 1/4 of the refining capacity of the United States. It is the largest here in the US and second largest in the world. Today I'm going to talk to you about operate and maintenance of safety related system in process industry. Let's see how we can change the status quo and improve these critical tasks, and how we can help to make the world a safer place.
Most companies have their own tools in place for tracking trips. The tools vary from a shift logbook, or they can be part of an elaborate tracking system. But the common factor about these systems is the data entry required from operators and maintenance. In most of the cases, the operator needs to collect data from multiple sources like SOE, DCS, and First Out. The challenge is to ensure all the data aligns with each other. That requires some level of experience with multiple systems, including SIS and DCS. That combination of expertise is rare, and most of the time all the responsibilities rely on very few people. So gathering the information can be time consuming. Where I work at Corpus Christi Olefins, it's an ethylene plant, and the goal is for the operation to work continuously for multiple years. 5 to 7 is common between turnarounds. So if you're not familiar with this type of plant, when a trip is happening, it's a big event. The flaring event is significant, and it's all hands on deck. Streamlining the investigation and RCA can save a substantial amount of money for the operating company. Since last year here at our site, we've been using Process Safety Advisor. One of the main advantages of this system is the data is collected automatically from all the SIS systems. So regardless of where the trip has happened, the information is readily available in one place. A system like PSA eliminates dependency on 1 or 2 people to data mine for the trip information. Why waste your manpower on data collection? This tool can empower the operation team. So that's when I knew with Process Safety Advisor, it's very easy for me to just print out the trip reports, look at the trends, and make life so much easier.
Hey, Houston, we've had a problem here. Can say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
In the last 2 centuries, car has been one of the unique inventions that improved human life. As you know, relationship of car and its driver is very personal and special. You would be surprised to know that first 30 years of driving experience, drivers didn't know accurately when they need to fill their fuel tanks. Soon, people realize that monitoring their fuel, their batteries, and other critical components of the car can improve their driving experience drastically. With advancement of electronics and availability of variety of sensors, industry started to overdo on collecting the information. We soon reached something like this. The driver needed to carry a book to understand the notifications. It was too complex. It took few decades for industry to realize that too much information not necessarily is better. We only need enough and sufficient information in the right time and not more. On the other hand, our experience also shows us that an operation as glorious as shuttle program cannot survive if it is not considering the overall sustainment factors like cost and waste.
Today I'm going through two use cases to show how Process Safety Advisor can help you in operation and maintenance. One is the post-trip management. After your safety system is activated and you want to do the analysis and investigations. And second would be the compliance management and the answering the question if your system keeps you safe.
Normally, activation of safety system is a big event. First, in majority of time, activation or trip will end up to an interruption of production. Clock will start ticking and we need to safely back to production again. An investigation would be started to identify the main reason for the trip and to verify if it would be safe to restart the operation. Let's look at the traditional way of trip investigation. First, people from engineering, operation, and safety review sequence of event. It is to isolate the trip event and identify the main initiating event for the trip. Relevant information like a SIF name, instrument involved, and system tags, all needs to be identified. Then root causes for the trip is investigated. Was it an instrumentation failure, operator error, etc., etc., etc. This investigation needs information from other systems like DCS and alarm systems. In the same time, maintenance team provide information about the reliability of the system under review if any failure or impairment caused the trip. Next step, we need a safety expert to review behavior of the trip to classify it as genuine, spurious, or even possibly manual test. This is a critical task since this information will fit the demand tracking, and we only track those genuine trips. Next, we need to a team of engineering, safety, and maintenance review the activation. We ask, does the SIF perform as it is intended? We need to answer this question, and response time satisfy the requirements. Any chance to able to get a credit for any of SIF activations? These questions need to be answered by the team of the engineering, safety, and maintenance. In the next step, we need to go a little bit deeper on those complex scenarios. We want to know that if the cascade trips are reviewed to identify the main initiating events and also prepare for the restart, considering all the permissives and interconnectivity between the SIFs. By now, we can start the operation can kind of start their process for starting the operation because we almost did the root cause analysis, end to end. There would be one more activity that it is normally done by all the team, and that is a follow-up investigation. That people want to know that the performance of the protection system, overall performance of the protection system, to identify the ways to improve it, to maintain the safety as it is intended, and in the same time reduce the downtime as much as possible.
Now that we got familiar with the methodology to analyze your trips, let's look at an alternative. In this case, I'm using the Process Safety Advisor to analyze the trip. Process Safety Advisor is a tool that connects to the safety system and pull the information from the safety system and then able to contextualize it as, for example, a trip analyzer. In this case, system give you an idea after the trip has happened, also give you a timestamp that it is coming from your PLC, give you the information about your safety instrument function, the names, the seal rating, the category, the area that safe is kind of activated, and also some description about your safety instrument function and the trigger tags that associated to that safety instrument function. System automatically analyze the data and give you that what was the behavior of your trip. It was, for example, in this case, was a successful in response to a genuine demand that we had. And you are able to open a trip report associated to this activation and look at the information that you would like to see for that trip. Let's open the trip report here. When the trip report is coming, it gives you the information about the overall information about your safety function, and also you are able to see each individual component of your safe, if it was what was those component, and if they were a bypass or if they were tested or not, they are compliant or not for you. One of the important things for any activation is that the response time. We are able to give you the accurate response time that tell you that if it is aligned with the safety requirement specification or not. And if even you have more than one valve, you are able to see both valves response time, and then you come up that when you are getting to the safe state. We are also able to provide the information about exactly at the time of the trip all the values for the tags associated to safe. And in addition, also we are able to provide the sequential event for a period of time that can be defined for each of these trips. We're able to see how many minutes before or how many minutes after the trip actually happened. In addition to this trip report, you are able to go back to your system and also check the trending, the actual trending for this trip. It means that this information, we are able to give you a very detailed information in the signal level about the any of those components of your system. When the trigger is initiated, and when how your valve or is responded to that initiating cause, and how all the signals associated to your SIFs behave during that period of time that you would like to analyze. One of the advantages of using this tool is that you are not limited to only the signals associated to your SIF. You are able to add any other signals to your analysis, and you are able to check how was the integrated trending looks like. You're also able to change the period of time for analysis. You are not, for example, in this case we had 2 minutes in the training, but you are able to go back as much as you wanted, because all the information for you is historized, and you are able to see all those information all the way back to the even few days before the activation. This was the trending. You also, after you analyze your reports, after you analyze your trending, you are able to understand or identify the causes for your trips, and it was, you are able to identify those, and then those will be recorded next to your trip report, and any times you are able to sort it, and you analyze your system based on the causes that cause that trips happening. In addition to that, now that you have all those information, you are able to get some credit towards the proof test for that function. Now you have all the information that you need to
identify that if your function is worked as it is intended or not, and you are able to individually for each component of your function, you are able to see that if you are can get some credit successful or for the towards the next proof test. All the information will be captured, your comments, your name, all those information will be captured and remain for the future references.
With comparing the two methodologies that we went through it, the benefits of automatic method are evident. Having all the information in a single system and automatic trip report and trending can reduce the investigation and decision time. In addition, less experienced people are needed for data collections, and effort would be focused on problem solving, and as a result, system downtime would be reduced.
To answer to the question that if am I safe, specifically for safety instrumented system, you need to answer few of your assumptions. First of all, if your SIF has the demand that you assume during your analysis. Second, if you have any SIF in bypass, it means that you take the SIF out of action and function. Next, if your SIF is follow the failures rate that you assume for it, and its components are follow the failure rates that you assume for it during your analysis. Specifically, the probability of failure on demand and risk reduction factor associated to your SIFs. Then each of the components, now you need to know that if any of those are out of service, because if it is bypassed, it is impaired, it is failed, and if any of those components also meet the requirements that you assume for them. It is a time consuming and also need a loss of resources to get those information from multiple systems. In the traditional way, getting this information take lots of time. You need to go to your maybe maintenance management system to see that how many times you had your failures. You may need to go to your plant historian to see if it is any of those demands are captured. You need to go to your any bypass system if you have to capture all those information, multiple places and lots of time. Now, I want to show you an alternative. Again, Process Safety Advisor able to show you all this information that it is needed, and it is stated in the clause 16 of IEC 61511 in one place. Now, when you come to your SIF operation in the Process Safety Advisor, all the SIFs that you have are listed. In this case, my system is a very small system, only have 4 SIFs. If you right click on any of your SIFs, in this case my SIF number 3, if you right click on it, the first things that you can see is that SIF overview, telling you that what is the component of your SIF, what is your sensor, what is your valve or final element, and what is your logic solver. And again, give you the overall information about your SIF, give you the KPIs, like a demand rate, when it is deployed, how many times it is, activated. All those information come as a summary for you. But we don't stop here. It is in the view that you see, you are able to see that what was the last time that this SIF is activated, how many times so far it is activated, if it is more than what you assumed or not, if it is bypassed or not. You are able to right click here and see all the information about your SIF, including the state history of that, if the SIF always was activated or working or not, or if it has any failure. All the test history about your systems, if your system is tested as it is intended, your proof test procedures are in place and it is tested as it is, it's scheduled. Also your bypasses, how many times your system is bypassed, if it goes bypass, if it came back as it is defined with the the period of mean time to restore time that you assumed during your analysis. And again, all your trip history also will be captured for you. You are able to see all the information that you needed to kind of get compliance to your standard and also to the performance of your system. You are able to see if your system is work as it is intended. That telling you now that if your system is meet the risk management, it's aligned with your risk management policy.
In addition to SIF, Safety Advisor also enable you to check the other layer protections and how they are affecting your overall risk associated to the hazardous events. You are going to select one asset in your operation, and then in your dynamic risk matrix, you can see that how many of your hazardous events are or have the elevated risk and why this elevated risk happens. Let's look at one of them again in detail. You are able to check all your hazardous events associated to any of your assets in any geography, and you are able to drill down and check that if what happened, that the risk associated to that hazardous events elevated. It is this risk management, it is including safe and non-safe independent protection layers. You are able to look at all the impaired IPLs for any of your units, and you are able to check out that how that affect your the overall risk management. This is including the BPCS, the SIFs, the alarms, mechanical devices, and even administrative controls. In this case, the example that you see, we are able to see that one of the BPC for the hazardous event 3, because the controller is in the manual, your risk is elevated. You don't have the risk manager kind of a reduction factor that you expected from your basic process control system or BPCS, and you are able to check all those informations.